Good evening, everyone. Just let me tune the stream so that I can see what you will be writing on the YouTube. And we will start. Okay, so today we are having the second part of our build review. As you remember from yesterday, I decided to start the Kugelpanzer from Miniart in 135 scale. And this kit is an interesting subject, I would say. And also, I'm traveling now, so that's why it was interesting, and it is interesting now as well, to see how this kit will be easy to assemble only with basic tools. So as you remember, I have on this sprue cutter, sanding file, and also the scalpel for some plastic stubs. So what I started yesterday, it was the engine. So here we have the assembly manual. I will tune it a bit backwards, and here's what we have. So everything starts with engine, then you assemble the frame around the engine, then you assemble whole subframe for this tank because it's a Sharo tank or Kugelpanzer. That's why we have the round frame. And thank you for the first like, by the way. And we continue with various seats for the crew, and then we proceed with various brakes. Here you can see the radiator. Then we assemble one of the hull halves, and it is also detailed inside, of course, because it's interior kit. And as you remember, all hatches are molded separately, so you can open them, expose what is hidden inside. But what I can say is here you can see this hull half. So that's actually the, I guess that's the right half, or maybe the left one. Depends on how you look at the vehicle. But as you can see, it is molded as one piece part. You have to attach these rings for the turrets, and also you have to attach this ring for the, let's say, the landing gear. Now for the wheels, for the side wheels. Here inside you can see that I installed this panel. I guess that's a fuel tank, maybe. Also here, of course, we have to install the machine guns, and there will be also additional ammo storages. These hinges will be used for the separate hatch. So as I said before, you can assemble it in the open position. So I would rather recommend to do it. And also, as I said in the previous video reviews, video build part, some modelers installed LED inside the model so that everything inside is lightened. Why? Because here I will show you explanation. So just give me a second. Here is let's say the main hull sub-assembly. So as you can see, that's the main frame. We have all the seats in place, and overall it's quite impressive bit of engineering, I would say. Really easy to assemble, as long as you pay attention to the assembly manual, because there are some things which you can misinterpret and then you will have a wrong result. For example, those frames, they can be switched in the wrong order, and then you won't be able to install those side seats which are used for the machine gunners. And the same can be said about the lower frames. Those top frames, they're copied with just a simple single pins. Next, what is also interesting is this driver's seat, because here you can see this nice handle. On the assembly manual picture, it is depicted as a straight handle, but as you can see, in reality it's a slightly angled one. I did not break it, so it's the right shape. It's out of the box, angled, and don't be worried about it. I mean, I was searching for another part, but then I had to resort for this one. It's part number 11, by the way. I remember it even now. So another thing which is quite interesting, as you can see, I have one hull half attached, and what you will have to do is to attach the wiring here inside for the radiator. Here you can see it, and the radiator, I hope you will be able to see it maybe like this. Nope. So here inside you can see it. Here, where is my finger inside? So you have to attach all those tubings, connect them with this radiator. It's a bit tricky, but it is doable. And of course, if you have a good glue, the fast setting glue, it should be even easier. As I said before, I have the Zvezda glue, the basic one, so that's why it's a bit more tricky to do this stuff, especially if you are used to the Tamiya glue, which is just snap and it's in place. You can't move it anymore. Another interesting thing is connected with machine guns, because machine guns can be movable. So here, for example, you can see that it is movable in the vertical axis. Thank you for the second like, by the way. So with machine guns, I'm a bit confused because you have to assemble one single machine gun out of several parts, and it's a bit tedious process, especially if you don't have the tweezers. As you remember, I do not have tweezers, so that's why I had to, I would say, improvise. Thank you for the third like. You're great, guys. And so what I was saying, you have to assemble it out of several parts, and it's a bit tedious work because you have to do it 4 times in a row. The same goes for these ammo storages. You can see them on the hull wall. For example, here it is better to see. And these ones are also assembled out of several parts, so be sure to install everything in the right place. And also note that there are special guiding pins or guiding tabs, so they will help you with alignment, because otherwise it will be really tricky. So the next steps now is to connect this hull part, and as you can see, once we place it in the where it should be, I would say, so we have almost everything dark inside. Don't forget that. Thank you for the fourth and fifth like, by the way. So everything will be closed with tracks here, and it will be even more dark inside, and then you'll barely see what is hidden inside. So here you can see, for example, how it will look like once you place the tracks in place. And that's quite an interesting dilemma, so I would rather recommend to install some lighting inside, because otherwise it will be everything will be hidden inside and it will be barely visible, as I said before. And I think it's a shame because, as you can see, interior is quite detailed for such kit, and I mean, it's worth exposing it. Or maybe you can think of how to make one of the hull parts or hull halves detachable, so that you can easily disassemble it from the vehicle and expose it just like this with tracks on the top. Maybe it can be interesting idea for me as well, because otherwise everything will be hidden inside. And just to get you to give you the idea, so here you can see the size of this tank. So Khamyak Khamikov is writing, for my Russian version I've changed machine gun for Maxim. Are you sure that in the Sharo tank we don't have the Maxim as a standard issue? Because as far as I remember, the Kugelpanzer, they feature the German machine guns, but in the Sharo tank there were Soviet machine guns, as far as I remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this is a German version, once again I'm reminding you, so that's why we have here the MG machine guns, and they look more or less okay for out of the box detailing. Of course, professionals might be not that pleased with such quality of the kit out of the box and replace it with resin parts, but I do not see any point in replacing this, because I mean, the main focus of this kit and main, I would say, attractor will be the interior, so that's why it's worth thinking on how to expose it. And by the way, another interesting thing is how to paint all those parts, because as you can see, I'm not painting them, but once you will paint all those interior parts, it might be a bit tedious, because you will have to combine all those shades, and of course engine has to be pre-painted before installation, because otherwise you will be having quite a funny time. What I can suggest is to build it in the opposite direction. What I was doing is to insert the engine first and then install other frames, but you can actually do it from the top. So first install those bars, these frames, and maybe this fuel tank, paint everything, and then insert the engine and glue everything together. But still, you have to be careful in order not to spill the glue on the frame, and it will be quite a funny time. Otherwise, I'm quite amazed by this idea of this kit. I mean, in my opinion, it's really nice deviation from all those Tigers and Panthers and Shermans and T-34s. Now we have a chance to build something different. And so, as I said, the tomorrow plans are to build this hull half, install it into the place, install the tracks, assemble the tracks, oh, actually the side wheels, and maybe also think on how to make this panel detachable, because otherwise everything will be hidden inside. Maybe it is also idea to make this track part detachable so that you can remove it from the top, you will get more lighting inside, and then you can just place it back whenever you want. It may be also quite a useful idea in my opinion. But we will see it tomorrow. For today, that's pretty much all. As you can see, that's really good kit in my opinion. So if you're thinking on what to build in the summer, this might be a good idea. And I would like to say thank you for joining me on Sunday evening. I mean, it's Sunday evening and you're deciding to spend the evening with me. That's really cool. I appreciate it. You're cool guys, and thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the likes. I'll see you tomorrow in the same live session at the same time approximately. And stay tuned because it will be finished soon. So don't forget to press the like button, by the way, if you didn't do. And bye.